are here. We are live. Oh, there it is. Whoa, it was fast this time. Okay, greetings, everyone. We're going to give it a few moments before this strange device kicks in. Thankfully, the technology has been stabilized, and also the minor meltdown that I was having in the background. Some of you true empaths out there are going to feel the energies we come in there and be like, "Oh, looks like Matthew was having a meltdown." I was literally everything was not working. And so, greetings. Come on in. Thank you for being here, everyone. This is a very new time slot. I don't know the last time we did like a midday live, but it feels like a good thing. I think the energy is a little bit more fresh. It's earlier in the day. Greetings, everyone. Come on in. Hello, Miss White Swan. Good to see you out there in the wilds of Canada. Thank you for being here, everybody. We have Aurora Diamond Heart in the background. What's up, you guys? It's really good to see everybody. Yeah, here we are. It just I somehow it feels like summer. I don't even know if that's a thing, but over here on the East Coast in Florida, it's like 95 right now, but I guess it's always like that. And so let us know how it is where you guys are, and welcome back once again to the Multidimensional Trailer Park, if you want to call it that. It's definitely one of the strangest places within our current multidimensional soul group. A little bit like a moped, fun to ride until your friends see. You know, but anyway, no. More and more people are coming online, and so today we have the return of one of my favorite guests. I mean this very, very sincerely. Out of all the people that we have had on the show so far, one of the not really qualifications, if there was ever a qualification, but maybe we'll just call it a requirement for the people that come in here to show up on our channel, is that I have to be personally interested in the work that they're doing. And if there's anyone that I have kind of watched and honestly recently found great value in his work, it has been Mario. What I have been noticing about Mario, not only from the time he was on our show, but much prior to that, is that I think he's coming to a stage in his journey where there's a tremendous amount of availability, timelines, energies, perspectives, and I think you guys are seeing this within yourselves as well. For those of you guys that are continually watching this channel and going through your own paths of psychic and intuitive development, I think that 2023, and especially this time of the year, represents a very important turning point, what some people would call an apex, maybe a jumping off point. But Mario has been one of the people recently within our multidimensional soul group who has been, I think, taking an incredibly, remarkably accurate temperature of what's going on in the world. And in fact, me and him were chatting right as we were coming in here, and I was like pouring my heart out to this guy, and he was going, "Yep, makes total sense, absolutely in alignment with what is happening in the multidimensional realm." And so what we're going to be doing here today is I'm going to bring Mario in. He's got some data he's going to be sharing with the collective, a few data points, and also we're going to be trying to make sense out of what we might call just the waves of remarkable intensity and change and evolution, and what some people might call upheaval, what some people might call revealing. There's a tremendous amount of activity taking place this year, and like I said a few seconds ago, I think it represents a turning point for a lot of us in terms of things that were being set up maybe in 2022, maybe things that were being set up in 2021, timeline choices that we have been making. And so I'm very, very honored to have him here. Before we get started, please let me know if you guys have any questions, if there's any big concerns. It looks like our technology is working. I just kind of opened the door and we started rolling. So looks like everything is operational. What's up, Nora Healings? It's good to see you in the background. Tell us about the sun. We haven't seen any. Oh, yeah, probably out there in the wilds of Europe. It's probably cold. But yeah, good to see you guys. What's up, Queen Victor, Joanna LeBlanc? Good to see you guys. If you can, please share this video as we are getting started. It's going to help us tremendously. A lot of you guys have already heard we're in this really wild and kind of artificial algorithmic cap on YouTube, where for some reason they won't let us go past 6.3 thousand subscribers. And I'll be honest, I'm very, very grateful to have made it to that point. But I noticed as soon as we got to this certain threshold on this channel, every single time we go above it, there's some little invisible thing that comes in and kind of just literally deletes 10 to 20 subscribers from this channel weekly, while adding the same amount, like over and over and over again. So I know a lot of other content creators have similar issues. But if you guys please do share this video, you can leave a comment later. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. And with that said, I'm not going to drag out the intros very long. A lot of you guys have already seen Mario, especially if you're a part of the multidimensional soul group. We might call the soul family of people that, maybe you know him from Facebook, maybe you know him from Instagram, maybe you know him from YouTube. But I believe he's one of the best people that you can turn to right now when we're seeking advice and understanding about what's happening within, just the astrological realms. And so I already feel the epic ranting kind of starting here, and so we're gonna go ahead and bring him in a second here. What's up, Libby? Good to see you. Blazing hot in Northern California. Oh my lord. Okay, I feel you. Yeah, yeah. Nice, nice. We're gonna be heading up to Grafton, Illinois, in just a few days here, and so there is one quick announcement I do have to make because I tend to save the infomercial stuff for later, but we're gonna get it out of the way now because there's a very important thing that I want to share with you guys. A lot of you guys have already heard about this if you know us on Facebook. But for those that don't, I want to let everybody know that over the past, I don't know, maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been less than a year, maybe it's been more than that. But over the past few months, people have been asking us to put this up, to edit our courses. People keep coming to me after we do a class and say, "When are you going to do this again? When are you going to do that again?" And so Annora, over the past month or so, has been editing and cleaning up the previous courses that we've done, and I'm proud to say they are now available. A lot of you guys already know this, but they're available on Vimeo on demand. For those of you guys that are starting your own path of psychic or intuitive development, maybe you're wanting to learn about chakras, maybe you're wanting to learn about meridians. We got a meridian course. It's literally uploading in this literal second right now. I'm looking at it in the corner of my screen, but for those of you guys that have been trying to understand energetic anatomy, the relationships, between chakras, meridians, organ centers within the body, and most importantly, how to clear them, how to heal them, how to generate a scalar wave frequency within your human body that can allow you to clear those energies. This is a really cool opportunity and a really good way to do it. It's 17 hours over 6 sessions. And in my opinion and experience, it is one of the most in-depth chakra healing courses that you are going to possibly find within our multidimensional soul group. And so it is currently out there and it is on Vimeo on demand. I'll be sharing the link with you guys shortly. But please do check it out if you are interested. We also have our psychic defense course that is up there right now as well. And I'm just really honored for anyone that finds it, anyone that wants to take part in it. It has truly been an honor serving with you guys. And so, anyway, let us begin. Let's get this crazy screen sharing thing off here. A lot of you guys will feel like the heightened energy. I have a feeling there's a few people in the chat. You're getting a little bit of maybe just low grade buzz of, is it anxiety? Is it energy? Maybe it's both, but let's go ahead and bring him in. Let us begin. Boom. What's up? How's it going? Shamballa Mario, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's really good
Pleasure
to see
to be here. Great to see you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, recently, as I understand, you moved across the country. Isn't that the case? Tell us a little bit about the. I'm trying to say the word
The
pil.
pilgrimage.
There you go. I
Yeah.
can only say certain words that start with like a certain letter. I will still stutter. For a lot of you
Mhm.
guys out there, you'll know I used to have a major stutter. It's barely there now, but yeah, tell us about your
Oh.
recent journey across the country.
My partner and I, we took our mother and left California and moved to North Carolina, and this was something we were planning and organizing on the super down low. Like we really didn't tell many people until a week or two before we were actually getting ready to move. And we moved out to a small town, very small town in Western North Carolina. Bought a house, got some
Nice,
chickens.
nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we're just getting started on a whole new chapter. We got a lot of other things in the works, starting a nonprofit, seeking office space for the nonprofit, and, a lot of brand new ventures right now that both of us, Shelly and I, have not done before. So we're doing it together, and it's just, our hearts, are coming at it with the pure intention, and it's just exciting.
Sounds like a definite timeline change from well, I mean, it certainly is from you guys were in the L.A. area, right?
Yeah,
And now you're out in the wilds of. You said it was north,
yeah.
north.
Western North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Tell us if you can a little bit about your nonprofit before we get started.
Yeah. So it's called Soul Center North Carolina. You can find it online too, Soul Center, soulcenternc.org. And the nonprofit is designed to offer a discounted or pro bono service to teens and tweens with acupuncture, human design, astrology, and hypnotherapy.
Nice.
So we're just looking to create a safe space and offer service to youth that come from a more underprivileged household that wouldn't afford alternative medicine such as acupuncture or hypnotherapy. And then also we really want to create a safe space where youth can come and learn a more deeper multidimensional understanding of self and how to relate self to the world. And we do that through human design and astrology. My partner has been practicing human design, I think, for about 5 years, 5, 6 years.
Nice.
And I'm been practicing astrology for almost 2 decades. So we come with a wealth of experience and knowledge.
You're also a trained,
Hypnotherapist.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Interesting,
Yes, I
interesting.
am.
Okay.
So we're going to be, and hypnotherapy and acupuncture, they work so well together
I agree.
when treating people. So her and I, we haven't like worked on somebody together yet, but we've been learning, we've been
Nice.
talking, we've been planning, and it's just it's in motion right now. So
The
you know
timeline is in
the the
place.
timeline is in place. The vision is seeing Soul Center available. And the nonprofit aspect is offering the discounted or pro bono services to the youth, but it's also going to be a healing center to have small local events, sound baths, meditations, little workshops. I'd love to have you and Annora come out,
You know it.
participate in a workshop.
Give me a
So
reason. Give
things
me a
like
reason.
that. So yeah, that's what we got working on right now.
Very, very cool. That's an incredible change from I think the version of you that I think we both met at what dimensions of disclosure to was it 2008,
19.
19, 18, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you have any idea that this was coming at that stage of your journey?
No, no. Back in 2019, I was still, coming out of my victim mentality
Me too,
and
actually.
barely in the process of like realizing like my power and taking it back and, moving into sovereignty. And for the viewers, Matthew really helped me and played a pivotal role in on my journey in taking my power back and assisting me in making massive timeline jumps and transforming my reality. It was like shortly after Dimensions of Disclosure and meeting you, a series of events unfolded, and then we had a couple sessions
We
together
did.
where you helped me remove some implants, and then I participated in one of your multidimensional psychic self defense class, and it was all during that time with everything that you were assisting me and teaching me and just the things that were revealing themselves to me in my life. 2020, before the lockdowns happened, COVID happened, I just had this powerful moment, at a family member who passed away. So I
Oh,
went into ceremony and did some mushrooms and like, did a lot of work. And it was in that moment where all the knowledge that you've been sharing with me was I was like tangibly experiencing it, be like, okay, this is not my energy. This is something else's energy. And I feel it invading my space, manipulating my emotions and my thoughts. Okay, what is that thing that Matthew always teaches us? Scalar toning.
Oh yeah.
and oh my God, it fucking worked, you know? And I, really tapped into my vocals and the toning and the feeling and like, distinguishing these fields of energy that are constantly around us and, no more entities grazing their nut sacks on my face and I feel
Nice.
worthless,
Nice. Okay. I mean, I guess not cool, but yeah, I feel
Yeah.
you. I feel you. That's wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I will also say on an equal level, like some of the posts that you have done lately with, regard to stuff that is going on within the multi-dimensional time space have been so utterly and completely on point, at least with what's going on in my life, all the way down to the effect. And I know this happens to some of you guys in the chat, so this is not going to be a cheesy, embarrassing thing. But there's been a few things lately that you put out there, and it was like it came across my path at the exact moment that I needed to hear it. You know those moments where you're like, God, what's happening? And then you see this thing, and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, all right. It's like
Mhm.
it like gives you a piece of knowledge in terms of what is actually happening outside of yourself to help you make sense of the whether it be upheaval, the change, evolution, activation, whatever it is. And I think a lot of us have been in crazy activation stages lately to the extent where we're like, is this even real? What's even happening? You know what I mean? All of that, but anyway, before I go on too far on a really big rant, I guess we'll kind of take it to the starting point that we set here today, and it kind of I guess it brings us back to where we very first met, right out there at Dimensions of Disclosure. I think
Mhm.
we were both viewing maybe what we might call some of the disclosure or SSP idolatry that is happening, and the
Mhm.
figureheads around that. Take it
Mhm.
off from there. I know you wanted to mention some stuff about changes occurring there, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, going back to dimensions of disclosure, the very person I'm gonna say
Oh yeah,
that
please feel free to say names. By the way, it's totally
the very
cool. I have
person.
no fear of that. Yeah.
Okay. So, back then, this was when I was like unaware of the things I'm aware of now. So, but I was still seeking, explanations for what the hell's going on in my life. You know, uh, I've said it before, but I'll say it again real quick. I
Mhm.
was hit
Yeah,
by
yeah.
cars 3 times in 1 year riding a bicycle. I had a fucking stroke and I had brain tumors. And 2019, when I was like just starting to come out of the woods of this intense period of my life, and it was right around the time where I discovered Corey Good and David Wilcox
Totally.
and did the things that they were talking about. I watched a lot of their presentations on YouTube from previous events. And that's when, one episode, David was throwing out the invite to Dimensions of Disclosure and was saying, we need volunteers. If you want to come to this event for free, you can be a volunteer. So I was like, that's my ticket to the event. And hopefully I can talk to one of these people and maybe they have some answers or at least some help
Right.
in the many things that I've been experiencing that are just too fucking crazy. you know um there was a lot of lot of interesting energies that transpired there, but today, talking about Corey Good today,
Totally.
I didn't know the extensive work that you've done on the accountability
They're
project
out
of
there. It's out
exposing Corey Good, and I really appreciate and respect that part of your character. It's a very strong, admirable part of your character to see that this person is not who he is and is out of integrity, out of alignment, and call that out, Be- especially on the level of this individual influencing thousands of people worldwide.
totally.
And so that's just not right. And then
Thanks.
just the buildup of it over the last couple of months of everything finally coming up to court cases and point blank saying in court, I made all the shit up,
Totally. Totally.
but bringing all this up, I'm talking all about this stuff is because that whole it's several years, and that whole
Right.
several years of like the era of Corey Good, it had its climax where he was peaking and he was a star, and then things started getting hairy and everyone's doxing everybody, and now everybody, whereas everybody was holding events and they're like, yeah, come to our fucking conference, come to our
Mhm.
retreat. Once, after Dimensions of Disclosure, that shit started falling apart. They were all more like, I'm over here, you're over there, fuck you, I'm gonna dox you, stop
Mhm.
talking about me, I'm gonna talk about you.
Totally.
So that whole period, and all the way to this year, to the point of Corrigan being in court and saying what he said, it's a perfect example about the transit of Neptune in Pisces. So
Oh, okay.
Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. Neptune is still in Pisces. Um, Neptune is finally in the third decan of Pisces, at about, let me see, where's Neptune right at this very second? Um, 27 degrees Pisces. This is the
Nice.
furthest Neptune has been in Pisces in our lifetime. The last time Neptune was in Pisces was almost 200 years ago.
Hmm.
It was the last Renaissance era. So, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and both Pisces and Neptune are very, very powerful and magical and mystical, um, energies, archetypal energies. And Neptune governs, an intense, spectrum of things. So Neptune governs the imagination, fantasy, the dream worlds, the
Yeah.
invisible other dimensions, pocket dimensions, things like that.
Nice.
So Neptune governs the ability to access the highest realms of the love vibration, of expanded Christ consciousness vibrations or Buddha vibrations.
Hmm.
Neptune allows us to reach those levels, to reach other realms. And the exact opposite of that is, falling into, your own delusions, martyrdom, delusions of grandeur, escapism, because the realms of Pisces and Neptune, they want nothing but to escape the mundane reality. They want nothing but to run as far away from the physical gravitational force of the physical 3D reality. um,
Hmm.
they want to go somewhere else. They want to go into a different realm that is of the imagination, and then and that realm of the imagination is powered through belief,
Right.
through your belief systems. And as we know about the age of Pisces, we're coming towards the end of the age of Pisces, and we're like in the beginning parts of the age of Aquarius starting to happen. We're not. I wouldn't say we're in the age of Aquarius yet, but
Okay.
arguably other astrologers would say we've been in the age of Aquarius since the 60s, or
That is
we're
the thing that everyone keeps saying, right? Just the
yeah.
age of Aquarius. So we're not officially in it, as far as you know, or
I
we're kind of at
I
the
don't I
starting gate.
don't I don't I personally don't believe we are officially in the age of Aquarius. I think we are just at the very beginning
Okay.
of the ushering in of the age of Aquarius. So the beginning, so it's like, when a movie's going to come out in theaters,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
before it comes out in theaters, you see all the ads and the advertisements. We're in that moment of ads and
Right.
advertisements and little previews before
Like the
actually
trailer's out
seeing,
now, and we're like,
like,
it's coming.
all
It's
the
about to
it's
drop.
coming, and through those glimpses, we can download a lot of information, and that's in some way we can think that it's here, that it's arrived, that we're in the age of Aquarius, and this is the time where humanity comes together, and blah 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 blah. But the age of Aquarius is a period of over 2,000 years, you
Right.
know? So
That's
it's
my
it's a, it's a massive long era. So the magnum opus of what the age of Aquarius is supposed to be, the magnum opus that everybody idolizes and romanticizes about,
right.
that, and we get mistaken that it's actually here. It's not going to happen until way fucking later, like thousands of years. We're not even there yet. We're at the beginning of creating the opening for that age to begin,
Okay.
and that the beginning of that opening is also, happening through these, like very intense short cycles of going through negative shadow aspects within the collective unconscious. A lot of us in multiple times of our lives right now are like deceiving ourselves, believing something only for it to spit in our face and realize we just got trolled by unseen forces, things like that. So this is all happening for a reason, to eventually take all your power back and to stop being a victim and to stop trying to escape your
Mm.
reality.
Yeah.
And so, with my experience with, Corey Good and following him, I was going through a lot of shit, man. I had a stroke. I was dealing with brain
Yeah,
tumors.
you
I
did.
had
Yeah.
been hit by cars, a lot of fucking things, and experiencing weird spiritual mystical phenomenons, and so the thing about Pisces and Neptune is this is the domain of suffering. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. This
Mhm.
brings the whole karmic experience to the end and intensifies the elements of victim mentality, suffering, delusions, mental illness, your own prison. So that way it could be experienced in this heightened state that is the 12th house, that is Pisces, that is Neptune, in order to surrender and tap in to the Christ consciousness of forgiveness. Because the power, so it's like, I know it's weird, and I'm not trying to be cliche
No,
or
this is actually great. Keep going.
religious or anything, but this is
We're
just
with you.
how the technology and the mechanisms work to transcend. Because Pisces is transcendence. So Gemini is enlightenment. I am enlightened through my thoughts,
Mhm.
understanding things through the realms of thoughts. Virgo is mastery. Virgo takes the enlightenment through thought and masters it through physical skill and creates the cell phone. I was enlightened of the knowledge that crystals and golds crushed together, things happen. There's a reaction. Virgo masters that enlightened understanding and turns it into a skill, self mastery. Then the next stage is Pisces, and that's ascension. We are ascending. We are ascending through this consciousness here. Pisces is that last pillar that transcends the whole experience. So ascension isn't even the end game. It's transcension. Transcending the reality is the end game. And that's the super high level magic abilities of Pisces. But there's this weirdness to it, this weird mysticalness, because um, there's there's this weirdness to it, because the mechanisms of being able to transcend into the next higher realm of perceiving reality and changing your beliefs is, you have to overcome the victimhood, the victim mentality, become into proper alignment with what your belief systems are and what you're choosing to imagine and create. And because it's the last sign, Pisces is the last sign, so we have gone through experiencing all the zodiac, and we're bringing all the experiences, we have gone through all the zodiac to come into this climax moment. So there's a lot of memory, there's a lot of energetic emotional memory within the Pisces archetypal energy. And that's why it's very common to see people with heavy Pisces energy to be addicted to drugs or fall into mental institutions, or that's just the vibration of it. And to transcend that, we have to activate the technologies of forgiveness. And that's why, like, Jesus says, like, forgive. And I've experienced that in my life, on a really bad mushroom trip of being like, oh my gosh, I'm a victim, all these things,
Mhm.
the Illuminati, they're killing babies and all this shit, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And then coming to peace with it by forgiving it all, forgiving all of it, even myself and every single weird unconscious aspect of the whole thing, and surrendering it and moving into this octave of unconditional love. Which, once you do that within yourself, it opens your crown chakra up, because Neptune and Pisces governs the crown chakra. It opens that up and shoots
I
you
didn't
into
know
this
that. Thank you.
higher viewpoint. um so this mini age of deception with Neptune transiting through Pisces. So Pisces is also the troll. Pisces will troll the shit out of reality and everything, because it wants to play with your belief systems and whatnot. And so thousands of people subscribed to the energy of
Hmm.
Corey. You
And they
know,
still do.
and,
And
and they still do. But here's the crazy thing is that all these people subscribe to it. And then, even I myself, and I'm still going through my journey of processing it, but so many people, they didn't really heal their pain or their trauma or how they're perceiving everything in their life. And they automatically will take the story of Corey
yep.
and apply it to their life and believe that they were in the secret space program and they've experienced all this stuff when all they're literally doing is mirroring.
Thank you.
They're mirroring and regurgitating, and they're believing it, and they're forming this pocket imagination through their own mental powers and their belief systems,
Hmm.
interfacing with this distorted matrix that contains this whole story and narrative of the secret space program and the government. And I'm not trying to say that all that's not true or not real. I think
Don't
there
worry, I
are
feel you. Totally,
true,
totally.
but it's how we relate and associate with it. And so many people bought into this without a single piece of physical evidence, not one piece of real physical evidence at all story from one person that thousands of people ate it, regurgitated, and then became it and propagated this distorted experience where there is truth to it, but it's become this mud of
Yep.
everybody else's trauma and pain. And it's really heavy because it's not just trauma and pain that these people have experienced in this incarnation. It's
It's
multidimensional,
other lives. Yep. I
genetic.
totally
It's
agree.
through the lineages. That's why
Hmm.
it's so relatable. That's why it's so powerful. That's why it's so easy to buy into it. And so this Neptune and Pisces transit is really dragging us through all this so we can get to these points of being like, haha, did you see how fucking easily it was to take your power and to subscribe to this fucked up narrative
Yep.
that you believed, and it caused you anxiety, it made you fucking paranoid,
Hmm.
and all of it, everything that you felt in it was a real experience, but it was created by you. Are you done with this? Are you tired of suffering? Are you tired of being a little bitch? You are a god. You are a multidimensional, powerful fucking being. And stop subscribing to these narratives. But we don't know how to think. We don't know how to act. We don't
Right.
know how to relate. We're just like coming out of a dream spell. And it's totally okay. It's not, I'm not shaming anything. This is a natural, organic process of learning and coming back into your own power. I have done the same fucking thing
Right.
multiple times through a number of different beliefs and subscriptions.
Totally. I
And
guess
so
we all have really at this point. You know what I mean? It's part of the strange journey. But yeah. Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's totally part of the same journey, man. So that's just a tiny example about that. And we can go on and on
Yeah,
about it.
so just real quickly, so just so I understand, it sounds like you're saying that the great upheaval or maybe we'll just call it the continued process of revealing of what we might call the false light or deceptive timeline elements that were presented by, Mr. Good or the people within his kind of, community of, false idols is now coming to some stage of maybe revealing or understanding, or but it's more within us. At least that's kind of what I'm hearing. Is that
Yeah,
is that
yeah, it's more within us, because even though the revealing is happening in real time in front of our
yeah,
face, we're dealing with a heavy wave of cognitive dissonance, because being trolled like this, you have to take a big spoonful of humble pie
totally
and admit, oh my gosh, I was totally bamboozled. And you know what, like, I don't want to subscribe to this story. Like, that's a fucked up story. And
Honestly, it really is. If there's ever a kind of ascension narrative that takes all of the power and responsibility away from, the human souls, I mean, all you got to do, guys, wait for the solar flash and everything, or the solar sneeze, and everything's gonna regenerate, and all the bad people will be gone, and we'll be living in the, just like
yeah,
attached
yeah,
to the
the golden
bizarre
age, the Kali
fantasy
Yuga.
elements of it. To me, it's shocking to see the way that has continued. And just like you, I've been noticing how people will begin to uncover their trauma and identify what's within them, and they will take this information, and it's like, rather than become a stepping stone into understanding more about our collective journey and the revealing of collective truths and secret things like that, people take it and they turn it into a personality trait.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
suddenly that's how I define myself. And
Yeah,
not to twist it
people
off
are.
into a whole other direction, but I
No,
definitely
I
feel
mean, I love that what you just said, because something that's kind of become normalized in this kind of collective thing is to put on your bio description on your Facebook or your Instagram page, TI, targeted individual. Like, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to put that in your profile bio, that you are a target individual? Like,
for
is that a
those that
badge
have
of honor?
actually
Does that make you more
experienced that.
special? You know?
Right. But
You
for
know?
those that have experienced actual targeted individual programs, I do not believe anyone truly wants to go, hey, guess what, guys? This is also me. You know what I mean? To me, and having worked with individuals that have been with that, I'm like, well, you really want to make that claim like it's a badge of honor,
Yeah,
But anyway, I
yeah,
feel you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is a very
Because
strange.
it's become a personality thing. So
Yeah.
personality trait.
So this is a thing that happens as we begin the age of Aquarius,
Mhm.
and yeah, tell us a little, or actually, if you can, I'm going to pull it into something that maybe is more recent, at least for me, and also one of the posts that you had made recently that really hit me, and that was about this kind of Taurus and Jupiter thing that's happening right now. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? What we might expect, how that process is
Yeah.
unfolding.
So I've been talking a lot about it in my posts and in my recent videos, that we are building up towards a grand fixed cross. And yesterday, Jupiter had just entered the sign of Taurus at 0 degrees. So this is the first time Jupiter has been in Taurus in 12 years. So Jupiter is in Taurus at 0 degrees. And now that it's in Taurus at 0 degrees, it is forming an exact square to Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degrees. And in a matter of days, Mars is currently at 29 degrees Cancer, but in a matter of days, Mars is going to move from 29 degrees Cancer into 0 degrees Leo. So that Mars in 0 degrees Leo is going to be opposing that Pluto in 0 degrees Aquarius, while that Jupiter in 0 degrees Taurus forms an intersecting T square to the Mars and to the Pluto at that 0 degree point, and then the south node is at 3 degrees Scorpio. So this is we're in the buildup of this grand fixed cross occurring. And grand fixed crosses are very intense because we're dealing with each of the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. And the fixed signs are known. The number one thing the fixed signs are known for is their stubbornness. Oh, the fixed signs are very stubborn. They're also known for being very reliable and very committed. When a fixed sign gets their mind and heart into something, it is very hard for them to change course. This could be a project, this could be a career, this could be a belief system, this could be anything. And I recently used the example. So if a fixed sign is the captain of a ship and that ship is starting to sink, that captain will go down with the
Going
ship.
down.
The captain's not going to be like, I'm not, no, this is my fucking ship.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that stubborn energy, and it's very hard for fixed signs to change course or to open and do that. And this is why we have other energy expressions, cardinal and mutable. Otherwise, we wouldn't survive. We wouldn't be able to evolve without the other modes of expression. So fixed energy is a type of expression. It's a mode of expression. So The four fixed signs are activated right now in the very early degrees, of their signs. 0 degrees within, 0, 1, 2, and 3 degrees, the fixed signs are
Okay.
activated. So when we have a grand fixed cross, we're dealing, and the nodes are, the north and south node are with this grand fixed cross as well. So we're dealing with vibrations that have been in existence in our current era, that have been the same for hundreds of years.
Hmm.
So this is power, this is money, this is resources, this is government, this is
Yeah.
structures, this
Yeah.
is religion, this is ideologies. Everything within the collective consciousness and the structures that have been the same for centuries is now having to shift, is now having to change. And it's very, very intense, because the fixed energy is going to do anything to not change it.
Right. We want to stay. Yeah. Yeah. Can
So,
I just ask a question
mhm,
about that? I'm going to awkwardly insert here, and forgive me if you were about to get to this, because you might have been right about to just say this thing, but you probably already know this. I'm the least astrological professional psychic in the world, and so I have like surface level understanding of every sign. But that said, can for everyone else out there that might be like, okay, T square, all right, yeah, we're in the early degrees of fixed signs. Can you maybe tell us from a more simple perspective, what might that feel like? Because I can tell you, for me, it's been like coming to a brick wall, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, there's a brick wall here. Let's
yeah,
do something
yeah,
about it. But
yeah.
how might that feel for other people that have energy in that, or are going through that process? And then feel free to pick up from wherever you were. Hopefully, I didn't derail too much.
No, you didn't at all. So, how it could feel, especially now that Jupiter is squaring Pluto in these fixed signs, is that everything can feel like it's come to a sudden halt. You know, that everything is stopped and halted. Progressions or movements and motives, it's just, or in your own personal life, it could seem like things aren't moving forward anymore.
Yeah.
And that's because the fixed elements, all the fixed signs, are coming from the four corners of the universe, headstrong with their bullheaded stubbornness, fighting. You know, the four corners of the universe coming in full force,
Yeah.
colliding, and they don't want to budge. They don't want to move. And so, this grand fixed cross is also happening during the new moon in Taurus, and Taurus is probably the most stubborn out of the stubborn signs. So shortly after this new moon, the moon will move into Gemini. So at this moment right now, what it could feel like is that we're in a pressure cooker, like a very hot, high temperature pressure cooker, applying all this pressure, and you can't move anywhere. You're stuck
Feeling
in the pot
it.
of the pressure cooker. And Mars going into Leo, opposing Pluto in Aquarius, happening right now. Mars going into Leo, that's going to want to amplify your ego. That's going to want to amplify your masculine energy, your drive, your ambition, your expression. It's going to want you to be like, hey, I'm so cool, I'm so badass, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. But then Pluto is going to say, oh no, hold on, pump your brakes, dude. You're not quite as badass as you think you are. I need to reveal to you these aspects of your opinions, of your thoughts, because that these things need to go away, and you have to change these structures within your personality, within your personification of how you express yourself, of how you project yourself out there. And with Jupiter right there squaring that energy as well, is going to really uh, dramatize the experience. It's going to blow it out of proportion and exaggerate the feeling of, I want to do this, but everyone is arguing against me. So Pluto and Aquarius is the collective, right? It's the collective conscious. And Mars in Leo is your own identity, your own personification, your own ego, and what you want to do with your ego expression. And Pluto exposing where within that there are, there's something not right, off balance, or you're confused with opinion and truth, and I need you to reorient what you think is truth and as actually opinion, and let that shit go. So the fixed sign energies within ourselves, within our home structures, within reality, are arguing right now. They're blah blah blah. Like, imagine every stubborn person in the same room, arguing about what they think reality is, what they think the truth is, and they're coming from all spectrums. One's coming from religion, one's coming from agriculture, one's coming from money and those things, and they have all their unique understandings and how things are and how they're supposed to be, and they're talking, and they're very righteous in their beliefs and what they're talking about. And so this is all having to come out right now, because basically it's a throwing up, it's a purging of the conditioning that the human body has had to endure for centuries, with false indoctrinations, with perversion, with bullshit science and all sorts of things. That has to all come out right now, and be experienced in this pressure cooker. And the way I explained it in my recent video is that with every pressure cooker, there has to be a release valve. If there's no release valve, then what would happen is eventually all that pressure will combust, and it'll destroy your kitchen and potentially destroy your whole house. So for the world, it's like we have world powers right now that have been the same, and they've been in power forever. And every, person alive on earth is feeling the pressure. Like, look what's happening in London right now. Look what's happening in France right now. The prime minister of Sri Lanka resigned when he saw the amount of protesters coming at him. So massive power structures are having to change. They're in this pressure cooker, and if this release valve wasn't available, if this release valve didn't exist within this grand fixed cross, then we're talking like doomsday. We're talking like nuclear fallout, because nobody didn't want to be compromised in their stubbornness. So shortly after the new moon, like hours after the epitome of the new moon takes place, the moon goes into Gemini at 0 degrees and trines the Pluto in Aquarius. And that moon in Gemini trine the Pluto, and followed by that moon in Gemini, 2 days later, the sun goes into Gemini and trines that Pluto. So the moon and sun, once they progress into Gemini, that activates the pressure release valve. And so what Gemini does with relieving the pressure is the Gemini energy, as these transits progress, says, hey, did you ever think about this? It proposes a question. It proposes a different way to look at it. And it does it in the form of like an innocent child, not really knowing anything, and with a childlike reasoning and logic, trying to solve something that all the adults are fighting about. So it brings it back to that point, which is it's a godsend that this grand fixed cross is taking place, and moments afterwards we have the progression of Gemini energy, because the Gemini energy wants to know what all the options are. Gemini is very open-minded.
Okay.
A Gemini can have a hard time having one opinion or having one thought. They will go all over the place, and you can't. Gemini is mutable air. You can't try harnessing smoke. You can't. You reach for it, and the smoke just evades. Your attempt at grasping at it. That's Gemini. So, and that's the pressure release valve. So that's what we're in right now. And this is experienced on all levels, from the whole fucking world to in your own interpersonal experience in your home and in your city.
Let me just say really quick, I feel exposed. I feel exposed. You are currently describing my internal world, and I guess also the external world as well. So thank you for doing that. But yeah, please go on. I think we are completely with you. So yeah, anything else in that? What might we be heading for next after the pressure relief process?
So, where we'll be heading to next is new thoughts, new ideas, trying something new, to solve the problem or to just, move away from what you now understand doesn't serve anymore. Um, Excuse me. So that's what we're experiencing right now, and it's very intense, like super intense.
Certainly is. Certainly
And
is.
the one thing I keep telling everybody is just to be really gentle with yourself and to be really gentle with other people. You want to be careful of being overly reactive to things, especially when the moon moves I mean, not with the moon, especially when Mars moves out of Cancer and into Leo, because this whole time as Mars has been transiting through Cancer, it can a Mars in Cancer transit can make us feel very frustrated, very moody, very agitated, because
Mhm.
Mars is aggression, assertion. Cancer is your emotions. It's yeah. So, anyways, so Mars moving through Cancer can like make you angry, make you feel agitated, because after Mars moves through Cancer, it moves through Leo. So it's a process of having to feel discomfort, agitation, frustration while Mars is in Cancer, only for it to then move into Leo, where you then become aware of the source of this anger and this
Oh,
agitation,
okay. Okay.
and confront it. So that's where we're coming into now. Mars is at the very end of Cancer and is going to be moving into Leo. And once Mars moves into Leo, it shines the light. It shines the light into what we were dealing in this Cancer transit with Mars, and allows us to work with it or integrate it or transmute it, whatever the case.
Yeah, can I ask a question real quick? When did the Cancer transit that you're speaking of start with Mars?
Uh, I think it started at the very end of March, like I think March 20th or March 18th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
uh,
very, very good to know once again. And for those of you guys that don't know, we kind of already had a confirmation of this prior to starting. But I mean, you're describing my literal world from the very date, literally that this current wave has started to literally where we are right now, and just in terms of what how we're feeling and what we're seeing happen. And when do we move into was it Leo that you said? When does that process happen next?
the day after the new moon. The new moon
Oh,
is on
okay.
Friday, May 19th. And so the day after May 20th, Mars goes into Leo.
Oh.
So this is great. This is a great example. So
Dude.
here's
Yeah,
another little example, and
yeah,
it
yeah.
might this
Go
this
ahead.
little example is probably won't be related to your experience, but it's kind of like the Mars in Cancer. It's like being annoyed by somebody. Somebody is just like
Oh no, I
triggering.
get that. Yeah,
Somebody
that's
is triggering all of these like agitations within you, and in that process you're formulating all these justifications and righteousness, and forming opinions that empower you, and intercept your logic and reasoning, and thinking that you have every right to confront this person for all the things that they do that agitates you.
yeah.
And then once Mars goes into Leo, then that's that point where we have the animation to take action based off of this previous cycle, and being like, look, man, I really don't like when you do this and when you do that. But what's happening this time around with the transition of Mars in Cancer to Mars in Leo, what's happening this time around is the moment Mars enters Leo, it's immediately opposed by Pluto and Aquarius. So what's happening is we're working to this moment of forming our own justifications, forming our own self-righteousness, building up to this point to express it and confront. And then when you express it and confront, you are immediately opposed by Pluto, and Pluto's going to say, actually, you are totally wrong. And
Actually,
actually, you are totally wrong. And this person is not doing any of the things that you think they're doing. You've been experiencing all of this within your own internal process, because the South Node is in Scorpio. And the South Node is in Scorpio is doing nothing but bringing about everything that is impure and toxic within your unconscious mind and making you aware of it. And sometimes within that process, we need an external reflection where we think they are the problem, but really they're just in existence for us to have our go through our own little movie. And
yeah.
then so this could build up to this point where you might create a little bit of drama and say, you know what, the other day you did this and you did that, because Mercury was retrograde for
Yeah, right.
half of this Mars in Cancer transit. So
Huh.
this could be like, you know what, the other week or the other day you were saying this, you were saying that, and it really pissed me off, and I really need to tell you this and that and this and that. And then having that other person really expose how through your own distorted pain body you've warped the whole reality of what was actually taking place. um, and that could really humble you and tame, the ego a little bit, because it's for healing. It's to get over. The South Node is in Scorpio, so the South Node at this time really wants as much toxic, unconscious, shadowy energy to come out. Scorpio is all about the mind, the psychology. It's this. I coined this term. I don't know if anybody else is ever using it, but I coined this term called the vanity insanity spectrum, where
I like
we can be so vain in thinking that what that other person is directly doing is they're doing it because they secretly don't like you and they're conspiring against you,
that.
and you think that they're doing this, but they're really, they really mean that. And so what that is like a distorted experience of vanity, and that's Scorpio. And this isn't a diss on Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio
That's
rising.
okay. Be real.
I
Yeah, yeah.
intimately understand this fucking energy. So it's like, this vanity insanity spectrum is like being at a party and seeing two people talk at the other room of the party, and you're like, what are they talking about? They must be talking
You're
shit.
talking about
They
me.
must be talking shit about me. And then because you have that feeling, you generate this whole belief and you think it's real. So like for example, my father, who's a Leo sun, Scorpio rising, he never healed any of his trauma that he went through. And he's very, very vain. He's Leo sun, very vain, and so he allowed. So Scorpio is also fear and paranoia. It's deep rooted primal fear. And so fear is a very powerful element that can overpower how we are perceiving and experiencing our reality. So the South Node in Scorpio can bring up a lot of primal fears. And it's the South Node. So it's an accumulation of fears, shadow, toxic energies that also bleed in from past lifetimes, because it's the South Node. It's the accumulation of karma, and the South Node is the past. It's a portal to the past. So this is bringing up a lot of toxic energies that are both from this lifetime and through other lifetimes. And so going back to my father,
Yeah.
he experienced a lot of heartbreak, being cheated on and seen a lot of things. And he himself also did some dirty deeds, and he never done any of the healing. And he formulated, he started to see that his wife, my stepmother, somebody that I've been calling mom for a long time, and dad, I love you, I forgive you, it's all good, this is just is what it is. But he would see that, his wife and I had a very harmonious relationship.
Mhm.
And so he started to think, through what he's seeing, oh shit, they're having an affair. you know my son's having an affair with my wife.
Mhm.
you know and this is the vanity insanity spectrum. And really the only reason why he's perceiving that is because he's afraid that
Yeah.
that can happen. And so like, and this explode, like this was a major explosion that happened, and I had to call it out and expose the demons, that the entities in my father's head, and be
Good,
like,
good.
these I was like, I had to explain to him, like, dad, these are entities in your mind, in
Yeah,
your field, that through the pain in your heart and your deepest fears have literally dragged you to believe
yeah.
that your son is having an affair with your wife. That's fucking insanity, you
Right,
know?
right. Yeah,
And so the vanity part is thinking that you're so important that the whole world and everything and everybody around it is always conspiring something around you, whether positive or negative. And
totally. You think the
so
song's about you. Totally.
this south node energy in Scorpio is bringing a lot of that stuff up, and it's happening silently. Scorpio's secret. Scorpio's what's hidden. So everybody is likely going through something psychologically within them, having to expose a deep-seated fear. And also the south node is in Scorpio, the north node is in Taurus. So this is also related to money. Taurus and Scorpio
Mm.
govern the money spectrums, and how resources and money is shared and experienced. So, oh my gosh, man, I can go on and on and on and on. And I think I left a couple open-ended
No,
sentences
this
back
is
there.
this is really really good, and honestly, you can go on and on because you are speaking to, I think, processes. Well, I know processes that are happening within my own life of upheavals, even those stories that we will, create. Exactly. I mean, everything that you are talking about here, whether it be, framed through your own experience or the greater, consciousness or the greater collective experience, is also things that I have been experiencing within my own little reality bubble. And, with the people that I've worked with lately, and, kind of like how we were saying before we started, other people that are doing the same work that I do and like you do are also feeling like the very same version of that. And especially I think that those sort of phantom stories that are created within the heart and the mind when something is left unhealed or unaddressed, and then you'll take away everything that was covering it, band-aid comes off, and it's like, oh, I have this huge wound that's been here from, I don't know, 2001, or whatever. It doesn't matter what day it is, but it's like, oh my
The
god, it's
16th
still here.
century.
It's still literally bleeding, and oh my god. And yeah, I think everybody's had a bit of that lately. I mean, it makes complete sense. I mean, shocking sense, but
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
wild.
and the element of trusting as well is infused with this. And so it's intense because, if you've ever gone through an intense DMT trip, like with Bufo or just
Mhm.
DMT,
It's like you
you
die in there,
you
man.
die, and
Yeah,
you experience in the true essence the
yeah.
dissolving of your ego. And then when you're coming down, you're having to experience the reintegration of your ego. And that's an intense thing. And so, you know, that beautiful, blissful experience of the DMT experience, that can't happen until the ego is completely dissolved. And so this is what's happening, is that the universe and these transits, it's bringing us through these different levels of stages to help us dissolve toxic aspects of our ego so we can experience pure, higher energies of intense psychic powers that result in a radical transformation of your identity, of how you relate with others, your belief systems, and everything else. Um, yeah, it's huge, and that's why we all need to be like, really patient with each other, because you don't know what's happening in someone's inner world.
Really.
You don't know what kind of shit that they're having to, deal with, that's in their genetics through their lineage or whatever. And this is, we're in the middle of these transits right now. And, while Neptune is still in Pisces, Saturn has finally reached Pisces.
Okay.
And Saturn, it takes Saturn 30 years to do one full
Right.
orbit through the zodiac.
Yeah.
And it takes Neptune almost 200 years to do one full cycle.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
this is the first time in our lifetime that Saturn has is transiting through Pisces with Neptune. And by the time Saturn catches up to where Neptune is right now, which will be in about 2 years,
Mm.
both Saturn and Neptune are going to be at the very final degrees of Pisces together. And then together, not at the same exact time, but relatively around the same, phase, Saturn and Neptune are going to transit out of Pisces together and move into Aries. So every 30 years, Saturn starts a whole new cycle when it moves into Aries. Saturn is the ruler of the physical plane.
Mm.
Saturn, these Illuminati cabal, they
Right.
worship Saturn, and they worship Saturn. Saturn, what makes Saturn the ruler of the physical reality is because it's the final planet outside the solar system that we can see,
Yeah.
with the naked eye. It's there, and so in ancient astrology, we only knew the planets up until Saturn. And so
Mm.
Saturn governs this inner orbit, and all the planets within Saturn's orbits are personal planets, what we call personal planets, ones that really describe different parts of your personality: Mercury, Mars, Venus, the moon. The next planet after Saturn is very far away, very, very far away, and that's Uranus. And then even further away is Neptune, and even further away is Pluto. So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are what they're known as trans-Saturnian energies,
Mm.
high
Okay.
level celestial energies that carry knowledge and information that are beyond the container of the physical reality. And from Saturn to the trans-Saturnian planets, there's what's called the Rainbow Bridge. And the Rainbow Bridge is moving through the asteroid belts that are that's after Saturn's orbit. And that Rainbow Bridge is Chiron, the wounded hero.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
Chiron is this weird, fucking figure that's dealt with rejection his whole life and
I
became
love
this
that guy.
amazing warrior, very shaman-like, very mystical. So Chiron is that energy, is that shaman that says, "Hey, are you ready to, move into higher realms of experiencing your reality? Are you ready to drop the shit and stop living this story that you are perpetuating and it's tormenting yourself? Okay, here, take this DMT, take this mushroom,
Yeah.
and let me take you across the rainbow bridge where we can expand your consciousness and you can tap into higher celestial cosmic knowledge that cannot be contained within the physical reality."
Mm.
So that was a bit of a rant.
Yeah.
Um,
This is actually excellent, and it's like I think this is what a lot of people. I know this is what I needed to hear today, and honestly, I mean that on a personal level, on a public level, on just a collect. All of the levels. I think it is one of the most appropriate things that we could do right now. And so, no, you are definitely not a ranting at us, but I sincerely appreciate it. We do have a couple other data points if you do want to discuss those. I know that you had some other things you wanted to talk about in terms of changes within the current, things like the New World Order. Hopefully, we're still allowed to
So
say
yeah,
that one.
that's where we're going into with
Yeah.
this Saturn. So every 30 years when Saturn moves from Pisces into Aries, that is the ushering in of the new world order structures. So every 30 years, the forces that have been governing the physical reality, the Illuminati cabal elite people,
Mhm.
they work with Saturn and Saturn's cycles. So
Yeah.
when Saturn leaves Pisces and moves into Aries, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is spring. Aries is the beginning of a new cycle. Anytime a planet moves from Pisces into Aries, that planet is beginning a whole new cycle through the zodiac. And so, since Saturn is the ruler of Earth, the physical plane, and every time Saturn moves out of Pisces into Aries, it's the beginning of a new energetic matrix construct to rule the world. the New World Order agenda. So different versions of the New World Order agenda are implemented every 30 years with these Saturn transits.
Oh yeah.
And so what's fucking crazy about this time around is that when Saturn is done transiting through Pisces and moves into Aries, it's going to move into Aries with Neptune. So
Okay. What happens then?
this is I can't tell you what happens then,
Or
but
how how might
I,
that feel? I
I
guess we're
can
saying.
explain. Yeah, so this is why a lot of I mean this is how I interpret the reason why a lot of channelers and psychics and remote viewers and such, when they try to like come up with predictions or see into the future, they
Right.
can't because there's too many probabilities. And there's too many probabilities in this time because the transits are so profound and so expansive in the consciousness that too many people are waking up. Too many
Yeah.
people are waking up and they're not going to go along with the distorted new world order agenda, and so
Mm.
this is creating a split, this is creating a tear. And with Neptune having to finish its transits into Pisces, this is in the midst of this tear. It's having to bring up everything, everything, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It governs suffering, it governs karmic experiences, it brings everything that the soul has gone through in all lifetimes. And this is why some people say Pisces are living their last lifetime on earth, because they have to go through
Mm.
these hard times to just eliminate it and transcend into their next soul experience, in another reality or solar system somewhere. I don't fucking know.
Hmm.
um
Interesting. I hadn't heard
so
that, but yeah, pause.
so
Yeah.
this is part of that, and this is why I say that this time right now is the most powerful. It's more powerful than the version of yourself in the future. It's more powerful than the version of yourself in the past. It's this moment right now, in this lifetime, in this experience, where we have the most influence and impact in which timelines we want to go. And as we're doing that and navigating which timelines we want to go, we're healing distorted timelines of the past,
Yeah.
because all the different variety of what could happen is happening. And I've heard from a lot of channelers and psychics and spiritual people saying that we've eliminated some of the worst possible timelines from happening.
I
I don't know
agree.
if I don't know if you've ever heard that, but I
I've
agree with
heard
that.
that, and I do agree. I think there's still other things that we're co-agreeing upon, certain
Oh
things that
yeah,
are slated to occur. But I would say most of the, like the, if you want to call it like the nuclear war timeline
nuclear
has, at
wartime,
least as far as I can
the
tell, it feels like that
zombie
already. Yeah.
apocalypse
Right.
timeline.
I don't know. I was kind of hoping for that one. I mean, I know that sounds
Yeah,
horrible to some of you guys out there, but I mean, we have been, been making, we have been shown exactly how to respond to this for decades now. We've got hundreds and thousands of movies and like games and whatnot. Trust me, we will we will make it. But anyway.
yeah, we will make it. Oh my gosh, there's so
Yeah.
many things to say about all this stuff, but Neptune also governs Hollywood. Neptune also governs the
Right.
television, because the television and the screen, what is it? It's a projections of light and sound, creating an image. And when you watch a movie, you're watching somebody else's imagination.
Yeah.
So Neptune governs movies, Hollywood, the movie theaters. Um, Gosh, I need to divert away from that.
No, no,
I'll write a
it's all
post.
good.
I'll write a post about it
Yeah,
later.
yeah, that's all good.
Um,
I realize I'm just like squeezing it out of you here, but like, but yeah,
I know, like my body temperature is rising. I'm fucking sweating.
no, no, it's good. Honestly, you are giving everyone that is here a massive download of energy that I think people need to be able to receive. And I think you're the one that they called in here to be able to send that energy out, because I can tell you that it is reaching me in ways, in areas of my life that are putting together pieces that I've been sitting here, like in my own world going, what, how does this go together? And all the people that I have been, talking with are like doing the exact same thing, you know, whether it be, you know, like revealing certain things, letting go of others, having to deal with these ancient wounds from like years ago, and like, you know, looking into the realm of imagination at the same time and playing the wrong story about it and getting it all distorted and, you know, like twisted up in a weird way. This to me has been what I've been seeing and watching and also kind of living, you know, like in my own way since I would say most of the beginning of this year. And looking at what's happening on the earth plane, we can definitely see that, you know, everyone else is going through it. But I have a couple random little things that I want to ask you here if you still have time. Just a
Yes,
couple
yes.
things that I had written down, and then I know you had a couple other data points that you wanted to discuss. But
Yeah.
um, recently we had the coronation of King whoever, I can't even think of his name, the dude that's the king now in Great
Oh,
Britain.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, was there some form of an astrological alignment or some kind of, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, a conjunction or something that took place during that, you know, you might know about? Because I don't know if you saw some of the footage of that. There was even the scene with the grim reaper going by in the background. And if there's one thing we have learned about the activities of, you know, this, you know, whether you want to call it a royal family or, you know, however you want to call them, nothing is ever chosen by mistake.
Hmm.
None of it.
Hmm.
Down to the minute, down to the day, down to every single word. And then we're seeing, you know, lots of other crazy things happening. You know, if you want to call the Ukraine situation, you know, there's a strange kind of, you know, process or there's like a corner turn that's about to happen there. There's a strange thing happening in American politics. I saw somebody on Twitter today was doing this massive thing where they were like revealing who took over after Epstein. And, you know, they now have the name of the organization and they're pumping out, you know, they're trying to drop that info. So there's a weird overturning that's happening on another side of it. But can you comment upon any of that? I know I gave you a huge basket of stuff, but
Yeah. So the coronation, this, I mean, this happened in Europe, and Europe is about a half a day ahead of us. So the coronation was May 6th in Europe, but it was May 5th for us, I believe. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
so.
that's,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Pretty sure.
And so for us, May 5th, or for them, May 6th, that was the day of the eclipse, that the Scorpio full
Yeah.
moon eclipse that took place. Um, and so this was really, it was a ritual, it was a ritual of seeing how many, people they can get to subscribe to this monarchy, and and accepting it. So, like, I think in London right now, there's a huge protest of people saying, dismantle the monarchy, which is fucking crazy that that's happening right now. There's thousands of people in
I'm
the
into
street,
it.
you know. So, the eclipse took place then, and so like opposite of where the king was receiving the crown, and so the king sitting on the throne represents the Taurus energy, where Taurus is the accumulation of all this material wealth. And I am the king of it. And here is my crown, the physical wealth. And so opposite of where that is, where he's receiving the crown, we see the Green Reaper walking by in that video. And so opposite of Taurus is what? Scorpio. And what is Scorpio? Death. Scorpio is death. Scorpio is the Green Reaper. So is Saturn. But Scorpio is death. So it's like, King sitting on the throne, getting on the crown, is representing that Taurus energy of, this is my accumulation of wealth, of my empire. I own all the lands and I am the one of power. But then yet there's that moment of death, opposing it at the same time. And this was taking place during the eclipse, when the moon was in Scorpio, during this eclipse. I'm trying to remember all, like, everything that was happening
Yeah.
transit wise that day.
It was a lot, right?
Yeah, it was a lot. I can't really remember it, but energetically, the way I understand it was, this was an eclipse, a weekend period, where it's like, so it was like, energetically wise, on the spiritual, war front lines. It's like,
Yeah.
of using this eclipse moment to, um, make a declaration of your sovereignty, make a declaration of connecting to your own power, of your own energy, and not subscribing to these other established powers, these other established systems and monarchies. That's all I can say about that, because I
Yeah.
haven't really gone into looking at it or anything like that. But just to point out, the parallels of where I see the astrology fit in that, that's it right there. And
Yeah.
for like Ukraine and all that other shit, I haven't been paying attention to any of it
Yeah.
recently, just because I've moved and
Right. Yeah. No,
so many
it's been a
so
lot. There's
many
been a
different
lot of stuff.
things, and
Yeah.
you know but there was so Saturn in Pisces right now. In less than 3 years time, Saturn is going to move into Aries with Neptune. And when Saturn moves into Aries, this is going to bring this battle that we've been experiencing for the last, several years now, to a whole new level, a climax level. Saturn and Aries is really intense, and people who have Saturn in Aries are going to be really activated and deployed at this time, when Saturn moves into Aries. So right now, the nodes are getting ready to switch out of Taurus and Scorpio and into Aries and Libra. And this is going to happen in July, mid July. The
Okay.
nodes are going to switch, and the nodes will be on North Node will be in Aries, South Node will be in Libra for the next 18 months. And when the North people who are born with North Node in Aries are some of the most empathic people, because North Node Aries people have spent a lot of lifetimes mastering the opposite of Aries, which is Libra. So the South Node is in Libra. So people who are born with an Aries North Node have spent a lot of lifetime investing all their energy and not prioritizing themselves, and investing all their energy to support other people or to support other movements.
Hmm.
So these are people who were like born to be, servers in a castle to the king and queen. They had no identity, they had nothing for themselves. Their whole existence was to serve this person or this thing. That's one example. Another example I use is like being a coach, but not the star. The
Hmm.
coach puts all their energy and all their power into helping the star master their skills, master their abilities, so they can go out and win the heavyweight championship title. And when they win that heavyweight championship title, they get all the accolades, they get all the contracts, they get all the money, they get paid. And if the coach can help this boxer become champion and get paid, then the coach gets paid and he's taken care of. So, and nobody knows who the coach is. Fuck the coach. Who cares? Like, we're here to see,
Right.
the champ.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is kind of like what it's like being a South Node Libra. Is if you spend a lot of lifetimes investing your energy into someone else or into something else. And in this lifetime, when you have a North Node Aries, you are here to develop who you are. You're here to develop your identity. And North Node Aries people, they have no auric field. They don't.
Hmm.
They're very
Oh, really?
susceptible.
Okay.
They're very susceptible to the power and the personalities of other people. North Node Aries people are going to be top tier empaths, super fucking sensitive people, and they're here to build their own auric field and separate themselves. And what they have to do in this lifetime is prioritize all their needs and what they want above anybody else.
Interesting.
So that's how it's experienced when you're born with the North Node in Aries. When the North Node is going to be transiting in Aries, as it's going to begin in July this year for the next
Right.
18 months, and everything that's transpiring right now, and this is a great time to bring up Anthony, the person that you had
Oh,
on
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
who had on your show,
Yeah.
is that if by now you don't know who you fucking are, if you don't know who you are, if you haven't integrated the belief in the value of who you are and what you subscribe to and your own sovereign power, then during this North Node Aries transit, you can be so overwhelmed by all the other forces and power outside of you that
Hmm.
can that can make you want to that can make you want to crumble or hide or switch sides, be switching sides all the time. So
Yeah.
so this is an intense period because as so many things are being revealed, and I love how many things Anthony revealed on his talk with you, exposing.
That was an epic show, by the way. For
It was,
anybody that wants to check it out, you can scroll back a little ways in the episodes after this. But yeah, anyway, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
you have to check it out.
One of the
He's
realest of the real people that we have, and Mario actually, or I don't, yeah, I think you
no, I
also
didn't meet
spoke
him.
with him as
I
well.
didn't get to meet him.
Oh yeah, we were trying. I was trying to find that guy at the conference. Like he was here. Where'd he go? Dude just disappeared. It was like boom. He went into like a wormhole. Literally, it was crazy. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
So he made a lot of statements that really challenged the love and light starseed spiritual community, right?
It needs it
Like
though. It needs it because it's toxic and fake.
he
It's like this makeup
bulldozed
that they
through
put
it.
on. We're star seeds. It's like this, like you can see the cracks, and like everything's caked on, and it's like, five, there's only five ET groups. Which one are you? And it's like, it's just honestly, that's just making me sick now. Sorry, everyone. I'm so done with it. But maybe that's like an Aquarius thing. Like as soon as it's cool, I'm like, I hate it. So, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go
So,
ahead.
you know, so that can really, a force that Anthony embodies within himself, because the dude, no doubt, knows who he is and he doesn't give a fuck about anything. And he's going to say what he's going to say, and it's going to carry weight and it's going to carry power. And so, for individuals that carry that kind of power and weight in the integrated structures of how they value themselves and knowing who they are, it's going to be very overwhelming for people who are still struggling to figure their shit out, or if they're existing within a belief structure vibration that just is distorted in some way.
Mm,
um so
okay.
this is like a period of like another period of separating the wheats from the tares, before Saturn goes into Aries. Because what this cycle, another part of what these cycles is doing is it's activating the warriors. It's activating the divine warriors for when Saturn goes into Aries. Because when Saturn goes into Aries, this whole new world war and multiple timeline shit is going to be really intensified. Like just look at what's happening at the border. Are these Chinese military trying to invade America, or what
That's a
really,
that's a good
you know
question. Yeah, right.
so and so this is in less than 3 years, Saturn is going to move into Aries. So a lot of agendas can be, sneaking through borders and sneaking past our conscious awareness for when Saturn goes into Aries, to all of a sudden, oh my gosh, are those Chinese men marching? Yeah, I'm not trying to be
Wait,
racist
so
or
when
like,
does Saturn go into Aries? When does that occur?
uh let's see.
Because honestly, that makes sense, like what you're saying. And don't worry, I don't think anyone's taking it in like a negative light. Because honestly, I think that's kind of, or maybe not, one of the things that's almost being, it's kind of literally happening. Not that it would be necessarily about China, but I could
Yeah,
see that quite literally what you're talking about. But
2026.
okay, so we have a little ways. We're
We
experiencing,
have a little ways.
possible buildup for
We
it,
have
but
a little ways. And so,
wow.
before Saturn goes into Aries, it's going to be like everybody waking up to a new world. Because Saturn is in Pisces right now. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. Pluto is finally moving through Aquarius. It's going to retrograde back into Capricorn a little bit, but it's finally moving into Aquarius. So with this Saturn in Pisces transit with Neptune, this is just a weird moment of shit. So something just kind of like pulled
It's
my
all
thought out
good.
of my head.
It's happened. Sorry, I like put a huge comment on the screen. The Saturn I see. I lost it too.
Yeah,
Oh shit. Anyway, thank you. Somebody came in and did a little derail. We're like, like the record skips. That moment where
yeah.
everybody in the bar goes, and they all look at you, and you're like, yeah. But anyway, so
So to end it right now, like to close us out.
yeah.
I one of my favorite examples that I like to use is going back to, ancient China and Korea, ancient Asia, when people were developing martial arts.
Hmm.
There's so many different styles of martial arts. And is one truly better than the other, or is it all within the individual and the intensity in which they master their own body and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And all different martial arts is, they have a general understanding of energy centers within the body, energies within the universe, the elements and things like that. So there is a core foundation, there is a core principle of an axiom, an unchanging absolute truth. And from there, individuals, through their own character, through their own perception, through their own truth, can form their own fighting styles of martial arts.
Yeah.
And so this is what's happening right now with reality, with perceptions, with beliefs. Is there are certain undeniable truths within the world, and right now it's not a good time to, like subscribe to idols like Corey Good and things like that. Right now, this is a time for everybody to have their own unique experiences and interpretations, because
Oh, I
everything is
totally agree.
super confusing.
Yeah.
Neptune turns up the confusion diameter all the way to 11. Like, confusion is turned up all the way, but also divine, mystical synchronicities and supernatural shit is also turned up all the way.
That's cool. I'm into
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah.
So, um, so this is the time to, like, for everybody to, like, really tap into their own energies and to not take other people's power and offenses so personally. Because if you think about that example of ancient Asia and everyone forming their own martial arts, you know, I didn't give a fuck what the person over there in their dojo was doing. I'm
Right.
forming my own
Right.
martial
You're
arts. And
doing
if they
yours.
want to challenge me, we can have a fucking match in the dojo and we'll see whose martial arts
Totally.
is the best.
I
Um,
Let me just say, I really feel that, and for all the people that maybe have been, watching our show, or have like been in our classes, you guys will know the one thing I tell, I mean, over and over and over again, is find that source of energy within you and make it your own version, your practice, your modality. In fact, the people that we have worked with who are carrying this work forward in a substantial way and are actively in service are invariably the ones who said, okay, I'll take a little bit of this guy, a little bit of Mario, a little bit of Matthew, a little bit of this person over here. I'm going to put them all together. And this is my version. And
yeah,
I think we're at the stage where it's like, if people are willing to do that and to actually allow themselves to create or form their own system, their own frequency, their modalities, whatever you want to call it, to me, I think that, and I very almost never use the word, but you will enter a level of mastery, which is a dangerous term if you know me. Not in so much that you're completely competent and totally aware of every single thing that you're doing, but you will have an element of knowledge of self that tells you, like, okay, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, and I might not know much else, but at least I know this much, who I am and what I'm doing. And you know, yeah, no,
yes.
it makes sense to me, but it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying. Is that correct?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And this plays a really big role in the age of Aquarius. So a lot of people, they really romanticize and love this idea of what the age of Aquarius represents, and it's not really here yet. And the age of Aquarius cannot happen until we understand what the opposite of Aries is. And so just the amount that the age of Aquarius is being talked about, equally the energy of Leo needs to be talked about as well, and that's not happening. So it's a major off balance in what the age of Aquarius represents. And the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun. Leo is the star. Some famous Leo actors, Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. These are famous Leo actors, and when you watch one of their movies, they're the only main star in the fucking movie. The whole movie is about them. The entire screen is blown up, showing their skills that they've mastered, because Leo is also mastery of skills and the performance of the mastery of those skills. And someone like Jackie Chan, who fucking mastered his level of martial arts and went on the stage, like that's his stage. He is the king of his screen. And so, in order for humanity to come together in this magnum opus of an idea of what the age of Aquarius is supposed to be, we have to integrate Leo, which means everybody needs to arrive to the party of the age of Aquarius as their badass diva self, not giving a fuck of what anyone else is doing, because I am a son, you are a son, everyone else is a son, and sons don't need validations from anybody. Things need me because I nourish
Yeah.
things. So the Aquarius party can't happen until the Leo understanding is integrated in that whole fabric. And I say this because we're still in this process of shaming people who are very confident in themselves, like Anthony, for to say, you know,
Right. Yeah, I have
we're
experienced that
still
as well.
we're
Right.
still
Yeah.
looking at it as toxic and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And it's like, no, that dude has integrated his son. He knows who the fuck he is, and it's unyielding. And he knows he doesn't need to feed anybody, and he doesn't need anybody to fucking feed him. Like, you know. And so we all need to arrive right now like that. And I myself have, you know, have overcome this in my life. I have been studying and practicing astrology every fucking day for almost 2 decades. But
It shows.
it's
It
only
really
been
shows.
it's
Yeah.
only
Really.
been in the last couple of years where I've integrated the value in myself and what I have to offer to provide my services. Because before I kept comparing myself to everybody else. That astrologer is better than me. That person is better than me. Oh, wow, they've said it in a way that I would have never been able to say it. But I have my
Yeah.
own unique martial arts style in how I interpret the stars, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm finally coming out and not caring and how crazy I sound, or if it's contrary to what my favorite astrologer said the day before. I don't
Right.
care because
Right.
I have to do this, and the people who listen or pay attention, they take it and and apply it to their own experience, and there's nothing else about me involved in that experience, you know. So I think that's it.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for spending time with us. For those of you guys that don't know, Mario has he has to go see some people after this. So we're on a little bit of a shorter schedule here for this episode, but damn. This has been one of the most epic downloads of continually applicable and relevant, and honestly, for me, it just shockingly helpful information that I have received in quite a while. And so, for those of you guys that are watching this now and also on the replay, leave a comment in the chat if you want Mario to come back in the near future and give some more astrological updates, because it really shows like the level of study, the level of dedication, how much you have invested of yourself into understanding things from your own unique perspective. I mean, it really, really shows, especially as I can say that as a person that has, been watching you and also going through similar awkward growth phases in my own world since 2019. And I think you are not alone. Like when we kind of look and like we will naturally compare ourselves to those who do similar work as us. I think it's the human process. We try to find ourselves in others, we compare, and if you're anything like me and all the other wounded star seeds out there, you're gonna go, oh yeah, I don't fit in that category, I don't fit in that one, I don't look like that, and I'm not in that one, and you just like, and you'll just shrink down into this this whole other place of self-loathing. But I think for those that are willing to toss that aside, kind of very much in the manner that you have, I mean, it will bring us into a whole new stage of identity. And anyway, I feel like now I'm starting to rant at you,
No,
and I know you
I
got to
thank
get out
you.
of here.
I really appreciate
Yeah,
I really appreciate everything you said.
totally.
You know, and the other, you know, shit, never mind. I gotta cut
No,
this
no, no, it's all good. I know. Don't worry. We're gonna do it again. I know you got stuff to do. So we'll do this again. I don't know, very soon, month or two, who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to come on, please do let me know. But in the meantime, where can people find you? Because I know they're this channel's small but fierce, and people are going to see this, and I guarantee you there's going to be at least a couple people that are, and they're going to go, holy shit, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Damn, okay, I'm actually feeling a lot of what he's talking about as well, and they're going to want to book a session with you. How can they do that?
You can go to my website, starseedsalsa.com, and book a reading on there. But I'm doing a sale right now, but I haven't put the discount in my website. So I've sort of just been having people message me directly to book
Yeah.
to get the discount. So I'm having a sale. If you are following me on Facebook, Shamballa Mario, friend request me, shoot me a message, and we can schedule an appointment, or Instagram. On Instagram, I am the Blue Ray Bodhisattva, and my YouTube channel is Unscripted Liberation Codes.
Oh yeah,
So
subscribe to his YouTube, you guys. Yeah, please do. That's actually where I have been following a lot of the stuff that you've been, like posting lately, like the
thank
videos
you,
and whatnot. And so, yeah,
thank you.
please do check that out, guys. Anyway, go ahead.
And my or you can just email me at starseedsalsa@gmail.com. And so I have a $45 discount on my readings going on until the end of Gemini season, June 20th. So right now is a great
Dude,
time.
that's almost too good. That's seriously, that is almost too good. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that's what my girl said. She was like, "What the fuck are you doing? This
Yeah. You know what though? Sometimes that's appropriate. I have done the same thing. But honestly, I think people that are willing to keep themselves accessible, I think that's honestly one of the most I just really awesome things that you can do. I think I also strive to remain accessible. You're never ever going to see me charging $500 for one session. In fact, honestly, I think a lot of people that do that, it's you're getting the same thing that you would have got otherwise. And watch out, somebody that's like, I charge 500 is going to come in here and like blow that out of the
Mhm.
water. But honestly, I think the universe, our guides, the spirits that sort of walk alongside us in this earthly realm, greatly honor those that choose to remain accessible, those that choose to remain true, those that continue to walk the line of what they know to be true in their own processes, even when like everyone else in the world is selling out to be the next inductee into the secret space program with Corey. There's going to be other people that are still going, nope, you know what, I'm doing this and I'm here and I'm going to keep going. And anyway, I'm just really honored that you would come in here again and kind of do this strange thing with us. And yeah, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for showing up. And yeah, for
Yeah, thank
everybody else, I think that's it. So I want you guys to find Mario at Starseed Salsa. Please do book a reading with him. I know I definitely will be doing it. I have done it in the past, and we will be doing it again. And so I look forward to seeing just kind of what takes place in the time stream. And we're definitely going to have you back in the coming months. And so let's stay in touch. And yeah, thank you, brother. I'm going to pull you off screen, and we're going to do our little outro here. And so for everyone else that has been hanging out here, thank you once again. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Share this video, book a session with Mario. And as always, you can find myself and Annora at rememberyourmission.com, at Patreon, at the Blue Flame Collective, on this channel, on Facebook, everywhere. And also now on Vimeo. For anyone out there trying to, really break into how do we understand our psychic abilities? How do we, become healers? How do we start to use, those things that we chose prior to coming into this body? And a lot of you guys have heard me say this, in the past, but we made a choice prior to coming in here. It is very much, and I know for some of you guys, you'll cringe when you hear this, but it is very similar to choosing your character in the video game of life. And that, we chose many different abilities. We chose many different traits. We chose, events and contracts and corner turns and, cliffhangers and mid-season, finales and all kinds of stuff. And as we continue to walk through this process, I think knowledge of self is absolutely the most sacred thing that one can continue to obtain. And so, however you find it, just stay true to what you know to be real. And honestly, don't ever forget to revise your conclusions when you receive new truth. I think that's one of the greatest things we can do as intuitives, as spiritual warriors, is learn to evolve. So many of us are still stuck within the paradigms and the ideas the conspiracy stories, the space war stories that we were stuck in 2017. And when you look back at everyone that's still in that, you're gonna see where they still are. You're gonna see exactly where everyone is. Whereas there's a whole other group of people that are coming into an entirely new stage of understanding, of empowerment, of clarity. And I like to believe that the people that watch this channel are some of those very individuals. And anyway, watch out, because I'm going to keep ranting at you guys, but we're going to be coming back in the coming days. We're going to be taking a trip out to, as many of you guys know, Grafton, Illinois, for the Journey to Truth conference on May 20th through 25th. And so in just a few days, we're going to be taking an epic road trip across multiple states, heading up there in to the Midwest. And in the meantime, we will see you guys in the future. Please pick up your trash on the way out. Do not stare into the void. And we'll see you next time over here at the School of Multidimensional Intuition. Remember your mission, the Multidimensional Trailer Park. I think we have a couple of other cheesy, nonsensical labels, but I love you guys. Thank you for supporting us on this strange journey, and we'll see you very, very soon. So take really good care. Boom.